Good afternoon. My name is Jason Desjardins. I'm the Acting Vice President of QP Local 79, which represents about 20,000 of your frontline workers delivering services across the city. I applaud you for a discussion about new revenue tools. But I also want to remind you of the crisis that looms from frontline perspective. If you are unable to put in place a package of revenue generation plans that fund our city properly. After years of cuts, frontline workers are often overworked and under-resourced. I want to read to you some of the comments that members have submitted to us in reaction to the 2.6% cut proposed for the 2017 budget. A young part-time instructor in recreation services tells us, "I work in a high-priority neighborhood, and wait lists for our camps and programs are growing. If we cut more, the kids who really need us will be left out." A practical care aide in one of our long-term care homes sums up what many feel. "We are not able to give proper care because we are short-staffed. If they keep cutting, it will affect the residents and they will not receive the care that they deserve." I'll also remind you that a couple of weeks ago, we reported that 2/3 of the city's planners report that there's not enough staff to properly manage development and community planning in Toronto. We understand that the budget isn't just about finding more money, but we need to be more thoughtful about the consequences of supposed deficiencies. Let's take staff gapping. Where vacant positions aren't filled to save money, there are currently 3,200 staff vacancies in the city. That's not an efficiency, that's actually a service cut. You will do a better job finding good efficiencies if you treat your frontline employees as partners in this endeavor. Let me give you a personal example. In 2003, the city proposed contracting out of its corporate printing shop because of short-term capital costs. My managers and myself, representing Local 79, worked together to show that it was worth the short-term investment to maintain a print shop that delivered high-quality, timely printing and at a comparable cost. We even found a cheaper way to make those needed capital investments by buying our new printing press at auction. We need to make sure that our efficiencies, as well as any new revenues, meet the city's long-term needs. Our services and the people who depend on them are what is truly at stake. Thank you.
I'm just going to pipe in to say that Local 79 applauds both the staff recommendation and the Mayor's position of not selling Toronto Hydro nor the Parking Authority. These are really short-term ideas that would hurt us more in the long term, but we also are here to commend both the Mayor and the staff for making explicit the need to have this conversation about a long-term financial strategy and the new revenues needed to address major issues of inequality and poverty in the city. Right now, we know that Toronto is just simply becoming unaffordable for too many people, and that's having a cost for all of us. In fact, that cost has now been marked, poverty is marked, as a cost of $5 billion a year, and we need to find ways for Toronto to be a better place to live for everyone. There's been a lot of focus on the capital budget and the massive $33 billion shortfall there. We understand that focus, but we cannot forget about the operating budget and the shortfalls that exist there as well. Right now, those shortfalls are stalling investments in poverty reduction and hindering our ability to maintain services at a level that everyone can rely on and, frankly, everyone can afford. We've had too much reliance in the last few years on user fees. We know that. That's been reported by the city manager, and that puts the burden on those who can afford it least. We're hopeful that in this revenue package, as we go forward, that we will see a shift towards revenue options that make sure that those who can afford to pay more. So staff recommendations on changes to the land transfer tax, commercial tax rates, the proposals put forward by the mayor around ending tax rebates on vacant lands and other tax rates that have been out there, those are all welcomed approaches towards that goal. However, continued use of user fees and reliance on user fees, whether they be transit fare increases or, frankly, road tolls, feels to us like it's starting to tip the balance towards a regressive tax system, and we have concerns about that. More than anything, though, our concern is being able to find solutions that meet our needs now as well as in the future. We need a tax package that goes forward to solve our budget woes and ensure that we have a sustainable city that's fair for everyone who lives here. We know people want to see the results and outcomes of the money they pay into their city, and in our minds that means maintaining services that everyone can rely on, investing in a transit system that really serves its users, and creating the good, stable jobs and affordable housing that allow for everyone to succeed in Toronto. We appreciate that you're having this conversation. We're here to continue having the conversation with you.
Thank you very much. Are there questions of these deputies from any of our visiting council members? Questions of the on behalf of members of the committee? Can I just have one, just Mr. Taylor, I just don't like to let these things sit on the record because it happens all the time. Yep. You would agree with me, I'm sure that an increase of $8 million in Parks, Forestry and Recreation this past budget year is not a cutback. It was an increase of $8 million. You'd agree with me?
Yes, I would agree with you.
And I assume you'd also agree with me that an increase of $11 million in the long-term care budget for 2015 to 2016 was $11 million up. That's not a cutback either.
I think these increases are best assessed with the need of the clients that are being served by those. Right now, we know in long-term care, for instance, that there's a serious situation of short staffing that's making it very, very hard for people to meet the needs on the floors of those long-term care homes. We know that that's the case, and that we do consider a cut because what we're seeing is less staff available to serve the residents that are there, and that's what we mean by cut. We appreciate that there's more money going in, but that has to be balanced with inflation as well as growth of the clientele being served by that service.
Inflation here would have produced about $4 million. I guess you'd agree on a, say, 2% inflation compared to $11 million that was put in.
I'm sorry, sir, you're throwing numbers at us without us having the numbers in front of us. It's hard to comment.
Okay. Well, it's well in excess of inflation. Thank you very much for coming. I don't mean to seem ingracious for the remarks you made commending some of what we're doing here and having this discussion, but I just think we have to be careful about using words about cutbacks when, in fact, there are significant increases.
We'd be happy to have that debate.
Thanks.
I do have some numbers, though. Actually, if you were talking numbers, there were 35,000 shifts in long-term care that went unfilled. In a period, that came up in our last negotiations. 35,000 shifts went unfilled. So I'm just, that would mean to me a shortfall. That would mean working short. So
I guess it depends on, but having said that, thank you very much.
Right, that money came from the province. I don't know where that went.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.